Going through my tests and horn not working correctly, so this is an FB EK one. We noted that the metal shim and plastic shim both missing. Horn's probably never worked. These parts are bloody expensive, really rare, very hard to obtain, so I've come up with another little way of fixing up this, which I'll show you. Okay, these are the parts you'll need, not many to do. It's a wireless controller, available on eBay, just under 20 bucks. We have the push button, and this is the control box here. I've already added my 3 wires. The blue one's my horn, red for power, black for earth, and you will need to just solder here between the positive V to the NO contact. I just used inside piece of the wiring here, pre-soldered it as a strip, and then soldered it onto there and cut off the ends. Now when it activates, this will activate to the common now. It'll give power to the common, coming out here to the horn. Don't need to modify any of that part, but there's a little bit of modifying on the horn bit, because obviously that won't fit inside. So you want to do these 2 screws and remove the internal part, which I'll show you next. Here's our internal part there. Try and get it in focus for you. Battery in the back, battery operated to make it wireless, and the switch here. When we push our switch, you can just see the LED illuminating. This is what contacts onto the back of the column. We'll show you that soon, how to set that up and what is required to do that. Okay, here's my parts when it's disassembled. I don't need these 3 parts, which are the 2 outer shells on the button. All I'm requiring is the printed board and the silicone part here, which has a nickel part in there to activate your micro metal button. So we're going to put that on there, and we're just going to tape it on there. Now the other part is, when we put this onto our ring, center it onto your ring, and you note that I have drilled out 2 holes with that centered onto the ring. That is so as I can put 2 screws into there, which will mount this above, which will mount this printed board above the steering column nut. The nut will activate on the silicone, which will push on this. Now, as we have no spring in the back, we then use one of these rubber grommets. I think that's probably about a 19mm rubber grommet. And you slip that over the 2 nuts, and when our steering column goes back on there, that will create your rubbering effect. I suppose you could put a spring also, but this was what I had here, and it's fairly cheap and easy to replace if it has to. Okay, my rubber grommet fitted on the steering wheel shaft there. Okay, now I'll put the ring on. Okay, so the screws, I still need these little insulators because they will still be required. Now we can screw them all the way up. just until they seat. You don't want to over tighten these because they are hard to get. And remember, they're off a bloody 60-year-old car, so who knows what plastics were like during those days. Now you will feel just a little bit. I have a bit of movement. It's given me the spring back I need. Next off, I put the 2 screws and the printed board back in. Okay, just put a little bit of tape across where the LED part comes out, just to hold it in place. It doesn't need to be glued in really. The actual steering wheel nut will hold that in there, and that'll all be good. Now I've put 1 bolt in one side. Now with the LED to the top, just slide that in under there, and then pop your other screw in the other side. Right, to just get enough clearance for the printed board to go under the horn button, you need to get 3 very fine washers, and I've taped them in over here, and then I'll put the horn ring on, put the screws through the back. Okay, with my printed board on, to adjust it, you'll see the little light come on. Go screw it until the light goes on, unscrew till the light comes off, and then just a fraction more off, and that should give you the adjustment. Okay, so that's your steering wheel control done. Now I have put the battery to the top because on these cars the little star thing sits in a little bit further in the top than it does at the bottom. So we pop that back on. And job's done. I can hear it clicking. I can hear it clicking, and also can see the light through. There. That's done. Now I'll put the other board on and I'll show you how that operates. Okay, so there's the receiver. Positive and negative into the receiving printed board, and a horn going out. Now we push the button, on, off. Push the button, on, off. So that works on both left and right side contact and from the main ring. Bit of an upgrade, just that cost me about $30 at the most, I would think. Maybe even a little bit less than that if you sort of barter on your eBay account. So job's done for me. I'm just going to now tuck that in and mount it up under the dash and wire it into the horn, and we're done.